Hello and welcome back to SDRA2's first class trial. It's me, Xander, again, and I'm just gonna do a stupid intro so we can just continue this.
Not really. We did learn something from the previous discussion. The culprit should have been outside the monocruise during nighttime after they kidnapped Yuri.
Huh? How do you know that?
True, how do you know that?
Think about it. If the culprit was able to do test runs to adjust the rope's length exactly as they needed, then they must have had enough time to do so. Being outside during nighttime with no one else but Yuri gives the culprit plenty of time to run trials without anyone finding out.
Good point! Someone surely would have noticed the culprit if he was doing trial runs during daytime.
Furthermore, there was a prevailing misconception that no one could exit the monocruise during nighttime. I'm sure the culprit thought there would be a good time to test their plan.
Yeah, I'm surprised that we still held that belief until now when people like Kokoro already knew that wasn't the case.
Well, I just stayed up all night once. Based on the previous discussion, we can infer that the culprit is a man. As we already know, a woman would have no reason to use such difficult methods.
It's true that Mr. Kagarin's death would be automatically attributed to a woman due to his previous outburst. So, should a man have committed the crime, the very act of murder itself would become his alibi. A rather clever ploy, I must admit.
So now that we know that, we can just narrow it down from all the guys here, right?
In that case, we already know the culprit. It's either Mikado or Shobai.
No.
Shobai doesn't have an alibi, and Mikado's the mastermind.
Can you repeat that again? Mikado's the mastermind? I don't care, bro.
Please do not forget my sincere wish for a class trial free of prejudice. It should be unquestionably clear that I am giving it my all.
Mood.
Huh? Shobai, were you asleep this whole time?
Still not over.
You must be crazy. Our lives are at stake right now, and you just dozed off?
Hey, you've got all you need. I know the whole story, but you guys don't need my help to figure it out. I haven't been getting a lot of sleep lately. Wake me up when it's over.
He's insane!
Anyways, Shobai or Mikado being the culprit seems unlikely, big bro. The culprit must have stayed late at the party last night to kidnap Yuri, but neither Mikado or Shobai were included in that group.
But you know, can't Mikado use magic? You've seen him flying around like nothing. Kidnapping Yuri with those abilities would be a piece of cake!
Nox's second law. All supernatural and preternatural agencies are ruled out as a matter of course.
What the heck is that?
An absolute code of logic in detective fiction that cannot be violated. It forbids supernatural or unrealistic phenomena from interfering with murders.
Oh, I know that! Isn't it from Umineko when they cry?
What the hell's Umineko when they cry? It's that actual show. I'm stupid.
I give you my most sincere, emphatic vow that I do not use my magic for matters relating to murder cases.
I'm not sure I get it, but how can you be so sure? Do you really think we'd ever believe the word of the mastermind?
Yeah, I would. I love Mikado, so I'd believe anything.
It seems I am left with little choice. Monaco, I humbly request that you add a new rule. Mikado Sanoji cannot use magic for any purpose relating to a murder case.
Are you sure about that rule?
Absolutely. I've already resolved to seal my magic, and its very existence seems to be a hindrance to the natural progression of this trial. I wish to use this opportunity to clarify my position within this killing game.
And yes, you use that opportunity to confirm your Chapter 5 victim status, because now you're gonna be the Chapter 5 victim.
Very well. The regulations will be updated once the trial is over.
Yeah.
Mikado Sanoji cannot use magic for any purpose relating to a murder case. As a reminder, the penalty will be execution should you fail to comply.
I understand completely. You have my deepest gratitude.
So Mikado can't be the culprit.
Why are you trying to make this problem harder than it is? The answer is already out. There's a suspicious individual who satisfies every condition.
Huh?
You spoke about the conditions to be the culprit beforehand. Think it over. The individual you referred to is in plain sight.
Okay. Shinji and what is her again? No. Shinji and Setsuka. I can't believe I forgot her name. I'm such a douchebag. I forgot my GF's name. Anyway, Shinji, Setsuka were also there, but they're extremely drunk, and they could have pretended they're drunk, but that's not possible because I saw them drinking the alcohol. Other than them, the other people who stayed, I actually have to remember, kind of. Okay, guys, give me a sec. I'm checking right now. Okay, yeah, the people who remained were Setsuka, Yoriko, Hajime, Yuri, Shinji, and Emma. So it kinda makes Emma the #1 culprit, because it's frickin' Emma, and I don't think she drank, so Emma and Yoriko didn't drink.
The conditions that we brought up were...
The culprit was among those who stayed late at yesterday's party. The culprit was also part of the group that prepared the party.
Okay, so yeah, Emma couldn't be.
Additionally, we figured out that the culprit is a man discussing the Life Fest and the murder rehearsals.
It's Hajime! No! Yuki didn't stay, so... Is it? He's asleep, nice. No! Crap, I liked Hajime! Wait, is he actually the killer?
It can only be you!
Was it you?
I guessed it, it's Hajime!
Hajime Makunochi.
Big Mac! What? I just like paused the last video, like ended the last video, and now it says suspend. Okay, resume trial. I have nothing else to think.
Was it you, Hajime?
What?
Wait a minute, Sora. You think Hajime's the culprit?
Yeah, I totally think Hajime's the culprit.
There's nobody aside from Hajime that meets all the conditions to be the culprit. He helped prepare the party and stayed late to drink with Yuri.
Yeah.
He's the only one who was in both groups, and is a man as well.
Precisely. I have been suspecting Hajime since the beginning.
How'd you know right off the bat?
You will remember my question at the start of the investigation. I asked, how do you feel about this murder?
Ah, yes. But how is that relevant?
I can figure out whether a person is lying or not just by hearing them talk.
What? So you knew Hajime was the culprit just from that one question?
Miss Mitsume, that sounds like an even more magical ability than my own spells.
That's really too OP. Okay, she's gonna die next, because that's way too OP in a Danganronpa game. If she dies next,
I cannot be completely
even
sure of
as
my
the killer,
deduction, naturally. But were I to narrow down my suspects, however...
It still is OP. I hope she doesn't die, then it'll be like, we're gonna solve all the class trials like in 2 seconds.
I can figure out the answer by simply comparing the evidence to each suspect. From that, my deduction is that the culprit is Hajime Makunochi.
Then Yuri's murderer, the person that attacked me, it was all him?
Kind of fits.
Hey, hold on a damn second! Why am I the culprit all of a sudden?
Because you are the culprit all of a sudden. Now I'm gonna make fun of Hajime because it's
Don't you remember? I may fit the bill, but that doesn't change the fact that I was drunk.
You weren't drunk, probably.
The only person who wasn't drunk was Yoriko. Don't tell me you all forgot about that.
Shut up! We already came to the conclusion she isn't.
That's true, but...
Yoriko was the only sober person at the party, and even she agrees I was drunk. How could I possibly have killed Yuri? You all said the culprit made serious preparations. Stuff like trial runs. Wouldn't that be impossible to do if you're drunk? Are you guys really accusing me as the culprit? Just because I fit your little conditions? Because if you are, I'm about to get really mad.
I'm sorry, Hajime. Did you forget the part that we got a single clue when we investigated the guest house? You know, one of the freaking like alcohol bottles Where was water? Oh crap. No, 78. Heat up. Oh crap. It's getting really heated up now.
The culprit couldn't have planned out their crimes while drunk. So they must have been someone who didn't consume alcohol.
Right. There's no way Hajime's the culprit.
Shinji, please make judgments based on logic, not your friendship.
Yeah, Shinji, stop defending
There's plenty
him.
of reasons why Hajime is suspicious.
No matter how suspicious I am, I couldn't have done anything while I was drunk. Ask Yotoko and check yourself.
What Hajime just said is true. Including Hajime, everyone who stayed to enjoy the party last night were completely drunk.
No, that's wrong!
Nope, Hajime was not drunk.
Everyone was completely drunk last night? I'm not so sure about that.
What are you saying?
I found these liquor bottles in the guest house, and some of them were filled with water.
Water?
At first, I thought it was mixed in during the whole mess of alcohol being brought to the party. But now that I think about it, it's possible that the culprit was just pretending to be drunk and drank water instead.
Wait a minute. I don't remember much because of my foggy memory. But are you saying that someone was just acting as if they were drunk?
If Hajime was acting drunk during the party, he knew we would cross him off the suspect list. There's more to it than just that. Crap!
Dude, isn't that...
Got it!
Yeah, this...
Yoriko, do you remember what you told me earlier? You said Yuri left to go to the washroom before you all went back to the monocruise.
Yes, I did.
Didn't you also say that someone else left with Yuri at that time? You said you couldn't remember who that someone was, but do you think that person could have been Hajime?
Oh my gosh.
Huh? Give me a second to think. Well,
Wait, I think I remember. That person told us to go ahead while he took Riri to the washroom. They told us they'd follow us back right after. They had blonde hair and bulky muscles. It was Mac!
You remember? Good
Yes,
job.
I believe it was. I wasn't paying much attention back then because I was under the influence. The thought that a murder would occur had hardly crossed my mind that night.
you both remember? Jeez, why can't I remember?
Even the drunk people remember what happened. Why couldn't you, Yoriko? Because your brain has more air bubbles than last night's booze.
I can't take note of everything while I'm completely absorbed in taking care of drunk people. Why are you being so harsh with me?
Because your bad memory frustrates me. Had you remembered, we could have pinned down the culprit much faster than we did. But thanks to the testimonies from the others, I think we've got the culprit set in stone. Yuri must have been completely drunk. He couldn't even walk on his own. In fact, wouldn't he nearly be out cold, considering the fact that he didn't refuse help from a man like Hajime?
So Hajime lied about Yuri going to the washroom and left off with him, then never came back to the mono cruise.
Considering Hajime as the culprit allows everything we've talked about so far. Hajime, did you really murder Yuri?
Your argument is too soft!
Oh no, Shinji, stop!
Wait, Sora, please! Hajime's the culprit? Hajime has an alibi. Please, let me explain. I know fighting with words isn't my thing, but But I'll have to do it to fight you, Sora. I have to do it for my friend. Hajime and I go jogging every morning. That's our routine, right after waking up. As always, I was waiting for this morning. Like I said, while I was waiting I saw Yoruko leaving the mono cruise. Hajime did arrive a bit later than usual, but committing a murder in that small gap is impossible. He's a cool guy, and when a man's gotta go, he's gotta go! You can't blame him for that.
Shinji, don't you think the fact that he arrived late itself rouses suspicion? Hajime is pretty strict about time as far as I know. Even if what you said is true, something about his actions are strange.
Yes, they're certainly strict. But when the discovery announcement was made, Hajime was with us at the dining hall. If Hajime committed the murder at the bell tower, he wouldn't have returned in time to meet with us in the dining hall. Hajime and I go jogging every morning. That's our routine, right after waking up. As always, I was waiting for him this morning. Like I said, while I was waiting I saw Yoruko leaving the mono cruise. Hajime did arrive a bit later than usual, but committing a murder in that small gap is impossible. He's a cool guy, and when a man's gotta go, he's gotta go! You can't blame him for that.
Shinji, don't you think the fact that he arrived late itself rouses suspicion? Hajime is pretty strict about time as far as I know. Even if what you said is true, something about his actions are strange.
Yes, they're certainly strict. But when the discovery announcement was made, Hajime was with us at the dining hall. If Hajime committed the murder at the bell tower, he wouldn't have returned in time to meet with us in the dining hall. Hajime and I go jogging every morning. That's our routine, right after waking up. As always, I was waiting for him this morning. Like I said, while I was waiting I saw Yoruko leaving the mono cruise. Hajime did arrive a bit later than usual, but committing a murder in that small gap is impossible. He's a cool guy, and when a man's gotta go, he's gotta go! You can't blame him for that.
Shinji, don't you think the fact that he arrived late itself rouses suspicion? Hajime is pretty strict about time as far as I know. Even if what you said is true, something about his actions are strange.
Yes, they're certainly strict. But when the discovery announcement was made, Hajime was with us at the dining hall. If Hajime committed the murder at the bell tower, he wouldn't have returned in time to meet with us in the dining hall. Hajime and I go jogging every morning. That's our routine, right after waking up. As always, I was waiting for him this morning. Like I said, while I was waiting I saw Yoruko leaving the mono cruise. Hajime did arrive a bit later than usual, but
Alright.
committing a murder in that small gap is impossible. He's a cool guy, and when a man's gotta go, he's gotta go! You can't blame him for that.
Shinji, don't you think the fact that he arrived late itself rouses suspicion? Hajime is pretty strict about time as far as I know. Even if what you said is true, something about his actions are strange.
Yes, they're certainly strict. But when the discovery announcement was made, Hajime was with us at the dining hall. If Hajime committed the murder at the bell tower, he wouldn't have returned in time to meet with us in the dining hall.
Crap!
Okay, guys, give me a second. I'm getting really confused right now.
He wouldn't have returned in time to meet with us.
I'll pierce through those words!
Holy crap, that took so much effort. Like, what the hell? Got 75. That's really bad. That's really bad.
Sorry, Shinji. Hajime actually could have easily made it back in time.
Yeah.
The body discovery announcement was made sometime after Yuri's death.
True.
What?
Of course. The announcement is only made when 3 or more people discover the body. There was no announcement when Sora and I saw Yuri's corpse. Monoko announced the discovery only after we ran to the top and met Yoriko, and she also saw the body.
So, did it go something like this? From Yuri's death to the body discovery announcement, the culprit had extra time to move around while Sora and Yuki climbed up the stairs.
As everyone who used the stairs during the investigation knows, it takes at least 5 minutes to get to the top.
Yeah.
Of course, the culprit was able to quickly get down safely by jumping off the tower using his fulcrum mechanism. This is a small island. If you run fast enough from the bell tower to the monocruise, wouldn't it be possible to meet with everyone else at the dining hall
Then...
Wait, but didn't Shinji say he went jogging? Yuri died at 7:30 a.m. If they went jogging together right after the morning announcement, how did Hajime kill Yuri?
Shinji and I briefly parted ways while jogging.
But that was just to get your girl card that you left at the guest house, right? And even that didn't take more than 10 minutes. Executing this whole murder plan in such a short time isn't possible.
There's one thing that keeps bothering me. Do we agree that the culprit attacked Yuko right after the door opened, and then they carried her to the top of the tower?
What?
If so, they attacked Yuko and moved her to the bell tower at 7 o'clock on the dime, returned to the monocruise and met with Shin, started jogging, parted with him, and went to the top of the tower again. Checked that you and Rava were there, and murdered Riri by jumping off, dealt with the rope and the life vest, and then came back to the monocruise, all within such a short period of time?
Shinji, at what time did you meet with Hajime this morning?
Well, it was around 7:15 a.m.
Even if we say the culprit ambushed Yoriko at 7 a.m., 5 minutes to run to the tower, 5 minutes to rush up the stairs, 5 minutes to rush back down, 5 minutes back to the cruise.
That takes 20 minutes.
There just wouldn't be enough time, even if Hajime buffed up his strength somehow.
Yeah, he couldn't have just got steroids and become OP like this.
Oh, there'd be enough time, alright. All you have to do is remove a step, and all the pieces fit perfectly into place.
Okay.
Remove a step? Were the stairs the only way down? No. He could have slid down the rope, as if he were riding an elevator. Didn't he already adjust their rope length for that?
Ah, that makes sense.
But wasn't the rope that connected to the life vest also connected to Yuri's body?
Yeah.
Yuri died at 7:30 a.m., but if he rode the rope at that time, he would have killed Yuri after jumping. That's still a problem.
He just had to get rid of the rope's connection with Yuri. Hajime could have simply yanked up the hook from Yuri's calf while he was carrying Yoriko to the top. Ew. Not a lot of people wander outside in the morning. And Hajime would be the first person to enter the bell tower. Wouldn't everything be solved if we assume that he put it back into Yuri's leg?
Got it.
Yeah, the right
The
calf.
mysterious stab wound on Yuri's right calf.
Yeah, that's the one.
Kanade's hypothesis would explain how that wound was created in the first place. Initially, the hook was in Yuri's right calf, but in order to save time after moving Yoriko to the top, the culprit used it as a mode of transportation.
In other words, the culprit took out the hook from his right calf to move down, then hooked it back into Riri's left calf when he returned?
After meeting with Shinji, the only thing left for him was to take his plan into action. So when he saw Yuki and Sora making their way to the top of the bell tower, he jumped down to kill Yuri.
Wait, Rara. You said a while ago that the culprit used wires to slow the falling and cushion the impact.
Yeah.
But if he used the rope before the murder like you just said, doesn't that mean there was nothing to cushion the impact?
True.
Ah, that's true. The wires cutting Yuri's body would break the fall when the culprit killed him. But if he jumped with nothing but a small hook on the other side, there wouldn't be anything to slow him down.
Isn't this a bit problematic? I remember Miss Little Sis saying anyone who fell from that height would get their shoulders crushed.
They all give us each other some nice nicknames.
No, it's not a problem. I know this sounds like I'm contradicting my own words, but unlike back then, we know for sure who the culprit is.
The culprit? Are you speaking of Hajime?
Earlier, I said anyone would end up with a shoulder injury because I didn't know who the culprit was. But Hajime's the ultimate boxer. Wouldn't he be able to withstand some degree of impact with his great physique? After all, no one cares more about their health than he does. The life vest also would have absorbed some of the impact, right?
Doesn't that sound a bit unrealistic? And even if he could survive the fall, that doesn't explain why he would bother setting up those wires. Why waste time preparing a braking system when you can just endure the impact in the first place?
In your opinion, who amongst us would possess the fortitude necessary to pull off such a feat?
Huh? Well, based on pure muscle, I guess Hajime will break for...
Do you see? The list of potential culprits has instantaneously been reduced to 2.
Oh, I get it. The fact that they were set up could be so the culprit could use their existence as an alibi. If there weren't any breaks, the second that jumping trick was revealed, our first question would obviously be, who could endure the impact?
Exactly. Of course, he also might have still needed a safety device to lessen the pain of the full impact, regardless of whether or not Hajime ended up enduring the impact. It's a definitive truth that the culprit jumped twice from the top of the bell tower, and therefore our conclusion would also be correct. Perhaps we should also examine Hajime's shoulders and see if we find any other condemning evidence.
Yeah, the culprit would have had plenty of time at night to estimate the strength of the impact through experimentation.
If I may interject, Yuki stated that he received a message from Yuri asking for assistance, but the existence of this correspondence in itself is extremely suspicious. Yuri, with his acute misinjury, reaching out to another man on the verge of his own death, is it not unnatural?
True.
Most certainly. Yuki even said that Yuri was delighted at the idea of being killed by a woman. It's definitely not the attitude of someone who would ask for help if such a thing had actually happened.
True.
The message was probably sent to Yuki by Hajime, using Yuri E-Handbook Plus to create an alibi. That way, he'd be able to make whoever witnessed the murder scene run up to the top of the tower to catch the culprit.
Now I see why he used a syringe with measurements on it to inject the anesthetic. It was to make sure that Yuri woke up the second Sora and I got to the tower.
So, Jimmy was really thinking that far ahead when he planned the murder?
Who's Jimmy?
Hey! Why are you all so confident
Hajime.
that Hajime's the culprit?
So the culprit set up wires not only to cushion the impact, but to confuse us and set up an
Sounds
alibi.
really funny.
And then he used the rope to move down. I'd say that theory checks out. But why did he put the hook in Yuri's leg and then take it back out? He could have gone down the tower with the rope first and then put it in his leg.
Could it be, perchance, that Miss Kabuya's interference threw a wrench into the culprit's machinations?
Through a wrench?
Allow me to explain my reasoning. Being unable to enter the monocruise once the slumbering hours occurred, the culprit was left with no option but to wait until morning. Therefore, it was crucial that they board the ship the moment the gates opened so they could play the part of the innocent. But Miss Kabuya stated that she exited the monocruise the instant the gates opened. Perhaps the two had a fateful encounter. Thus, the culprit had no choice but to ambush her in order to eliminate any possibility of her going to the bell tower. It would have completely jeopardized his carefully laid out plans, after all.
I agree with Mikado. If you think about it, jumping off the top of the bell tower like that without anything to cushion your fall is just insane. It would have been a risky gamble, even for Hajime. He wouldn't have done it unless he was forced to, due to some outside interference.
But, like, why did Ruko even go out that early in the morning? It makes her super suspicious, you know?
I told you already. I just wanted to get a head start on my investigation. With everyone's morale being boosted from the party, I felt motivated to really give it my all. But the murder made the whole thing pointless, of course. Well, I think we finally put all the pieces together. Is there anything we're missing, Hajime?
Hey! Hajime, I still believe in you.
I don't.
Why are you just standing there? Tell them they're wrong!
No, that's wrong! Now I'm Nagito Komaeda.
I admit, everything they've said seems to line up nicely. I'm not sure where to start.
Yeah, start with the point of you arguing.
Maybe that's because you're guilty?
That's enough! Don't you believe in your friends at all?
You're all teaming up on me with weak, bullshit speculation.
He doesn't look pissed enough to say that.
There's nothing else to say.
Okay. Begins the final stage, okay? Now... Okay, it's time to do this.
What a load of crap! You've got no proof! Why are you suspecting me?
It's over.
I refuse to believe this! You guys really falling for this shit? Your logic is bullshit! You've got no evidence! What a load of crap! That ain't convincing! You've got no proof! Why are you suspecting me? You guys really falling for this shit? What's the point? Your logic is bullshit!
Alright.
It's over. It's over.
You guys really falling for this shit? I refuse to believe this! What a load of crap! You've got no proof! Why are you suspecting me? That ain't convincing! What's the point? You guys really falling for this shit? Logic is bullshit! You've got no evidence!
You've got all the evidence.
What a load of crap! That ain't convincing!
I'm done for.
Why are you suspecting me? You guys really falling for this shit? I refuse to believe this! Your logic is bullshit! You've got no evidence! That ain't convincing! I refuse to believe this! A load of crap! You've got no proof! Why are you suspecting me? That ain't convincing! I refuse to believe this! You guys really falling for this shit? Logic is I refuse to believe this! Logic is bullshit! Why are you suspecting me? You guys really falling for this shit? Got no evidence! A load of crap! What's the point? You've got no proof! That ain't convincing! I refuse to believe this! What a load of crap! That ain't convincing! I refuse to believe this! Logic is bullshit! Why are you suspecting me? You guys really falling for this shit? Got no evidence! What a load of crap! Why are you suspecting me? Got no proof! That ain't convincing! What's the point? You've got no evidence! A load of crap! That ain't convincing! I refuse to believe this! Logic is bullshit! Why are you suspecting me? You guys really falling for this shit? Got no evidence! A load of crap! What's the point? You've got no proof! That ain't convincing! I refuse to believe this! You've got no evidence! A load of crap! That ain't convincing! I refuse to believe this! Logic is bullshit! Why are you suspecting me? You guys really falling for this shit? Got no evidence! A load of crap! What's the point? You've got no proof! That ain't convincing! I refuse to believe this! You've got no evidence! A load of crap!
It's over.
I refuse to believe this! Logic is bullshit!
Final round, let's do this.
You've got no proof! Why are you suspecting me? Your logic is bullshit! You guys really falling for this shit? I refuse to believe this! You've got no evidence! A load of crap! That ain't convincing! I refuse to believe this! Your logic is bullshit! A load of crap! You've got no evidence! What's the point? I refuse to believe this! What's the point?
It's over. It's over. I'm done for.
I refuse to believe this! You've got no evidence! A load of crap! That ain't convincing! I refuse to believe this! You've got no evidence! The logic is bullshit! A load of crap! You've got no proof! You've got no evidence! Why are you suspecting me? You've got no proof! Why are you suspecting me? That ain't convincing! The logic is bullshit! What's the point? You've got no evidence! A load of crap! That ain't convincing! I refuse to believe this! You've got no evidence!
It's over.
What a load of crap! You've got no proof! You've got no... Tell me why the hell I'm suspicious!
This is the end.
No! Stop it!
That was really, really hard. My eyes are literally watering right now because I'm like so sad and want to stand real fast now because that was really hard. We only have the I guess what is it called again? The freaking comic thing.
Hajime, are you really going to insist
Closing
that you were
argument, yeah.
drunk? You, Hajime Makinochi, got completely drunk? That's not like you at all, Hajime.
Nobody in our group cares more about their health than you, Hajime. I thought it was kind of strange that you were drinking at the party. You did say drinking a bit was good for your health, but you've made it sound like you drank way more than that.
And I just can't see someone like you not being able to restrain themselves from drinking.
There's a little thing called mood at a party, you know? I'm human just like the rest of you. Even I can cut loose and ignore my health for a bit.
Ah, Mac, I just remembered. You were the one who invited Riri to the party, weren't you?
Oh no.
Right. He suggested that we invite Yuri, saying he's not entirely a bad
Oh
person.
no.
Even then, he hadn't forgotten to talk about the importance of health.
Damn it! Hajime! What the hell were you thinking?
I'm not the culprit.
Fine, have it your way. Let's review this case from the start. Then you'll have no choice but to admit to your crimes.
Okay, I know how to do this. Alright, let's begin the closing argument.
This is the truth of the case!
Alright, let's go.
It all began when Yuri started saying all that weird stuff about wanting to die for a single woman. He knew we were all growing desperate, so he offered any girl the chance to kill him and escape. Unfortunately, his words caught the attention of this case's culprit. If Yuri had been killed, everyone would suspect a woman of being the culprit. The culprit used this to their advantage in the murder. However, Yuri had locked himself away and only answered to women. Setsuka decided she wanted to host a surprise party to get everyone to cheer up. Our culprits saw this party as a critical part of their plan. After getting himself involved with the party setup, he was able to convince everyone to invite Yuri. While preparing the party, our culprit took the opportunity to swap some of the drinks with alcohol. This was to make sure people would get drunk. It wasn't long after the party started when Yuri, a man who was fond of alcohol, had become completely intoxicated. Both our culprit and the victim drank late into the night until they had to return to the monocruise. Once the party reached its end, our culprit helped Yuri and slipped away from the others. As a result, both the culprit and the victim were left all alone at night outside the monocruise. Once separated, the culprit took our victim directly to the bell tower. Since this all took place at night, there were no witnesses or interruptions that could affect them. Yuri was already passed out from being drunk, but to be extra sure, our culprit used a syringe to inject him with an anesthetic solution that would keep him out for a long time. Since our culprit had plenty of time until morning, he took some time to practice his method. It was during this practice that they made sure all of their measurements were perfect. Once the culprit was satisfied with their preparations, they had to wait outside until morning. Once the morning announcement went off, our culprit was going to enter the monocruise. However, as soon as the doors opened, Yoriko stepped out of the monocruise. If she had gone to the bell tower, this whole case would have been ruined for the culprit. The culprit had no choice but to inject her with the remaining anesthetic and moved her to the bell tower. Although the decision was made in the moment, it actually ended up driving suspicion away from them. During this time, the culprit had become late to the morning jog with Shinji, so they had to hurry. So, they removed the hook from Yuri's right calf while moving Yoriko. Going both up and down the stairs would take too much time, so they decided to use the hook as a means of transportation. With Yoriko in tow, the culprit rushed to the top of the bell tower. With the hook detached, our culprit quickly jumped off the tower using their fulcrum method. Normally, they would injure themselves without the weight of Yuri and the wires to slow them down. But they decided to take a risk and put their faith into their fitness and health. Luckily for our culprit, the culprit, who had shortened his travel time, joined with Shinji in the monocruise. During the jog, our culprit made an excuse to depart from Shinji for a moment. Returning to the bell tower, the culprit rearranged the hook placement. They couldn't reuse the right calf, as it had been completely torn up. So they inserted it into the left calf. This is the reason he had wounds on both of his calves. Once everything was ready, the culprit used Yuri's e-handbook plus to send a distress message to Yuki. As Yuki received the distress message, our culprit quickly made their way up to the bell tower. Once the culprit heard that we had arrived and Yuri had woken up, the culprit jumped off the bell tower once again, this time with the intention of murder. Yuri, who was connected to the life jacket via the hooks, was sent flying into the air. As Yuri flew up, he was cut by several sharp wires that had been set up by the culprit. The culprit, now safely on the ground, cut the rope and... Yuri was sent falling downwards to finish him off. Since there was nothing to slow his fall, it was without a doubt the true cause of death. Yuri, who we had just witnessed alive a moment earlier, was now a bloody mess on the ground. This is the truth of Yuri's death as Yuki and I had witnessed it. Once we saw the gruesome sight, we decided to rush up the stairs, hoping to find the culprit at the top. While we rushed to the top, the culprit disposed of the life jacket and was hurried towards the monocruise. Doing so would give them an... Fortunately for them and their fitness, they were able to make it back in time for the announcement. Right after the body discovery announcement, the culprit made their way to the bell tower with everyone else. In doing so, they reacted innocently with everyone else and pretended to be shocked by the event. However, this was all an act. In truth, they had been the one to kill Yuri. That culprit is without a doubt. You, Hajime Makunochi, the ultimate boxer!
Still got 80 points.
It's over, Hajime. You are the culprit.
Yep.
Well, I guess I can't argue against that.
Oh.
Does that mean?
It can't be helped. They got it all right. I'm sorry, Shinji, but I'm the culprit.
What a B. Alright, we got a lot of crows from that.
Have we reached a conclusion? That wasn't nearly as interesting as I thought it would be.
It was.
Are you ready to see if your answer is right or wrong? As a warning, you only have one chance. I will assume that you've had enough time and proceed to the voting. Now everyone, choose who you think is the culprit with the switch in front of you. Will your answer be correct? What will be the outcome?
Guys, that's the end of the class trial. I'm gonna end the video here, okay? I'm gonna end the video here. just because that is amazingly hard. So save. Alright guys, thanks for watching guys. I'll upload the next episode after this right away. So yeah, thanks for watching guys. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.